Hello, and welcome back to Bite-Sized Game History. On today's episode, we will be covering the history of the game commonly known as Tetris, my mother's favorite video game. I'll keep this brief and to the point, so without further ado, let's get into it. Tetris was created in June of 1984 by Alexei Pechnov, an artificial intelligence researcher working for the Soviet Academy of Sciences in Moscow. He initially considered creating a game around Atominoes, but with that game's 12-shape variants thought it would be too complicated, so Alexei switched to Tetrominos and its 7-shape variants. Alexei worked on Electronica 60, which had only a text-based display, so the Tetrominos were formed of letter characters. The completed lines resulted in the screen filling up quickly, so Pechnov decided to delete them, thus creating one key element in the Tetris gameplay. Dmitry Pavlovsky and Vadim Garsimov, co-workers of Alexei, ported the game to the IBM PC. His co-worker Vadim Garsimov stated that Pechnov chose the name Tetris as a combination of Tetromino and tennis. Shortly after Tetris became popular and began spreading across Moscow, the PC version made its way to Budapest and Hungary, where it was ported to various platforms and was discovered by British software house Andromeda. They attempted to contact Pechnov to secure the rights for the PC version, but before the deal was firmly settled, they had already sold the rights to Spectrum Holobyte. After failing to settle the deal with Pechnova, Andromeda attempted to license it from the Hungarian programmers instead. The Spectrum Holobyte version of Tetris was released in the United States in 1987. The game's popularity was tremendous. The computer gaming world called the game deceptively simple and insidiously addictive. Tetris was released for Amiga and Atari ST, two different versions by Microsoft and Spectrum Holobyte. The games were sold as budget titles due to the game's simplicity. Spectrum's Apple II package contained 3 diskettes with 3 different versions of the game, for the Apple II Plus, Apple IIe, and the Apple II GS. Good to know Apple has always insisted on releasing 16 versions of the same product, were copy protected, so they asked for the purchaser on their honor to not give away or make copies of the game. Unsure of how to publish his game and fearful of the response of the Soviet regime if he did so, Pechnov took the opportunity offered by Perestroika and gave the rights to the Soviet government for 10 years. In 1988, the Soviet government began to market the rights to Tetris, following a promotional trip to the country by Gerald Hicks, the one-time United States champion of the game. An organization called Elektronorgetechnika, or ELORG for short. ELORG had still not been paid by Andromeda, who had been licensing the game out. In 1989, half a dozen companies claimed rights to Tetris, while ELORG claimed none of the companies had the right to make an arcade version of the game, who they signed the rights over to Atari, as well as signing over the rights to the Nintendo for the non-Japanese console and handheld rights. A Dutch publisher brokered an agreement with Nintendo to bundle Tetris with their Game Boy handheld system, stating that Tetris made the Game Boy and Game Boy made the Tetris. Pentagon, the console division of Atari, tried to license Tetris from Nintendo, however with no success, and yet proceeded to make versions of Tetris anyways without the legal right to do so, prompting a long lawsuit battle with Nintendo that Pentagon eventually lost. In 1989, Sega released an arcade version of the game that was commercially successful, and tried to release a version for the Sega System 16 and System E arcade boards, however failed to do so due to licensing issues. In 1996, the rights to the game were reverted from the Russian state to Pechnov himself, who previously had, at this point, made little money off the game. That same year, the Tetris Company was founded, claiming to hold the copyright registrations for Tetris products in the US and taking out trademark registrations for Tetris in almost every country in the world. After the Tetris Company was formed, there was rightfully so many lawsuits that followed on the companies that infringed upon the Tetris copyright, from look and feel to key aspects of the gameplay, that the Tetris Company largely won, as well as Alexei finally being able to reap the benefits of this amazing game he had created so many years prior. The newest version of Tetris had just recently been released by Nintendo in February of 2019 for the Nintendo Switch system. Nintendo still has the console rights and thus made Tetris 99 that features a Battle Royale style game mode where 99 players play in the same match. In addition to complying with the Tetris guideline, this version of the game features a unique mechanic known as badges. Badges lessen the severity of the attacks received and amplifies the attacks sent. Players can gain badges by knocking out other players who have them. Tetris was very well received, with one of the outlet called Compute saying the IBM version of the Tetris was one of the most addictive computer games this side of the Berlin Wall. It is not the game to start if you have work to do or an appointment to keep. Consider yourself warned. Tetris have been reviewed by multiple outlets such as Dragon Magazine, given a 4.5 out of 5, and later on another version of Tetris, 5 out of 5. The ZX Spectrum version of the game was voted number 49 in the Your Sinclair official top 100 games of all time. In January of 2010, it was announced that Tetris franchise had sold more than 170 million copies, approximately 70 million physical copies and over 100 million copies for cell phones, making it the best-selling paid downloadable game of all time. Guinness World Records has recognized the game as being the most ported in history of video gaming, appearing on the excess of 65 different platforms by 2011. Tetris had held the title of most sold game until recently, where Minecraft had announced at its 10th anniversary that they had now sold 176 million copies of the game, taking the title from Tetris. And depending on how you count it, Tetris could still hold the most sold game when you consider other versions of the game that are not considered real Tetris due to copyright violations among other reasons. Regardless, Tetris has made a massive impact on the gaming world, showing that complexity does not always mean a good game. For Tetris to be a rather simple game and to do exceedingly well through the years shows to the contrary. Alexei made a phenomenal game that had an effect on many people's lives. It is unfortunate how it started out for him, with the theft of the game or the inability to copyright and license the game himself. Thankfully, now he is properly recognized and rewarded for his efforts in creating Tetris, something no one can ever steal from Alexei. The fact that he is the creator of one of the best games in history. So thank you, Alexei, for all of you have done. You have changed gaming for the better, and that will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching this episode of Bite Size Game History. Please like and subscribe for content in the future. Let me know of anything involving video games you would like to see a bite-sized history done on in the comments down below. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.